Godzilla. Even the name brings shivers down my spine. It's safe to say that millions upon millions of people love that big old dinosaur. I mean, after all, he is pretty badass. That tall, intimidating, chubby figure, his tail, his atomic breath, his spikes, and let's not forget about the infamous roar. Yeah, that one. Growing up, I was obsessed with Godzilla. I saw a majority of his movies. I had a fair number of his toys. Hell, I even pretended to be him. Unfortunately, the new Godzilla movie just isn't all that good. This disappointed me a lot, seeing how I grew up watching him. Some of you might disagree with me, which is fine. But seeing how I'm a big fan of Godzilla, I think I know what I'm talking about. Anyways, here's a list of 5 reasons why the new Godzilla movie sucked. Number 1, Godzilla himself. Now this movie is called Godzilla, right? Sadly, the guy who made this film forgot that it's all about Godzilla. It's kind of in the name. Duh. Sure, he appears halfway through the movie like he always does, but still, giving our star pupil and title character more screen time would have made this movie all the more satisfying. Number 2, Bryan Cranston's character dies way too early. Even if his screen time was brief, Bryan Cranston's parts were by far the best. They were well written, and I gotta admit it, the man can act like a motherfucker. But again, a huge mistake was made when the guy who made this film, Gareth Edwards, decided that killing the most interesting human character in the movie would do it justice. Boy, was he wrong. Gareth thought, hey, instead of making Bryan Cranston's character our lead, why don't we kill him off and make his boring ass son the lead character instead? Really? Thanks a lot for killing off one of the best actors of all time in a movie that could have been so much better hadn't you let him live and kill that bitch Ford instead. Number 3, too many teases. Throughout the movie there's a ton of potential for action. However, when Godzilla is ready to take the gloves off and bitch slap one of the motos, the scene ends. Or instead of seeing Godzilla fight the creature, we see Ford's son saying, "Hey mommy, look! Dinosaur!" as he watches it on the news. I don't want to see some kid pointing out the obvious. I want to see kaiju fighting to the fucking death. Jesus. The fuck? Number 4, the lack of action. Number 4 is kind of like number 3, except at the same time, slightly different. Throughout the movie, there are tiny pockets of action. Nothing major, however. Even the final battle between Godzilla and the male and female motos sucked ass. You barely saw it as it focused way too much on Ford, instead of the final major fight in the movie. Though I will admit, the tail slap Godzilla did to the male moto to kill him, and the way he atomic breathed into the female moto's mouth, which rips off her head. Oh, and by the way, that's what she said. It was awesome though, I'm not gonna lie. Other than that though, way too boring for my taste, as this goddamn movie lacks legitimate action. Number 5, focuses on the human characters way too much. Don't get me wrong, I am all for human stories in a movie about kaiju, but when you overwater it, that's when I lose interest. This movie focuses on Ford a little too much, where it should focus on what really matters. Godzilla. You'd think when a movie is about Godzilla, they would actually focus on Godzilla. I guess not. Well, thank you for shitting all over my childhood, Gareth Edwards. I really appreciate it. While Godzilla wasn't the worst movie I've ever seen, and believe me when I say, I've seen a lot of bad movies, including Godzilla. But it wasn't the worst. Could have been a lot better, but hey, what are you gonna do? For that, I'll give Godzilla a 6 out of 10. Only because Godzilla was in it. And Bryan Cranston's character, Joe Brody, actually made the movie bearable. Anyways, that's pretty much it for this video. Peace. That's so bad. That is so bad.